modeling the e-learning industry, I think this goes, the same question comes for you in terms of like, what were the opportunities you learned? Because I realized people who already had these platforms of like e-learning prior to the crisis actually flourished. So was there something you learned in this time? Do you feel that your models, you know, stood the test? Because I'm a believer that sometimes we need crisis to test the things that we've made. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on all of that.
Thank you so much, Kemi. I'm so glad to be here today. I'd like also to thank Leo Africa Institute for coordinating this whole conference. Well, I'm working at Sure Direct. So Sure Direct is the non-government organization that basically deal with the online platform for secondary school students. And when we started, it took us a while to actually convince people you can actually learn online. You can actually be able to have the same experience like the one you're having in the classroom, but now this can be available online. So when COVID happened, as you said, we really had a huge traffic. Like a lot of people relied on us, and simply because there were no already existing platform, maybe for government, that is there so that students could actually rely on. So we had a huge traffic that really caused us even to shut down our system. We were not available for 2 days because the number was very high. But what I think came out as an opportunity for us, it was much more on being able to partner with different stakeholders that it ideally, initially, it would be very hard. We were able to partner with mobile network operators, the one that are providing internet accesses, for them to actually zero rate our platform so that students can actually access these platforms, both website, mobile application, without being charged internet. And that has been going on until to date. But also we partnered with the government, you know, for you being able to have online platform, you have to get certification from the government. And at that time, we were in the process of getting certification of our content as being available or being required to be taught in school. So the government actually gave us a temporary certification so that students could be able to use it, but also could see other media also took charges because we understand the challenges that we are having. There are more than 13 million children in our country, both from pre-primary to secondary school, who were out of school during the COVID. So only relying on the platform that are available online, probably it was not much realistic to cover the whole gap. So there was an issue of using medias like TV programs, radio programs that will help these students to also have access to learning materials during the crisis. But one thing that I think has been most challenging, and it has brought us into attention as organization, because our focus is to make sure we provide quality education accessible anywhere, anytime. And I think we haven't really been able to tap the whole space, because yes, recognize their challenges. Not everyone have access to mobile phone, not everyone have access to TV, etc., etc. But one thing which was opportunity, and we also pivoted from, it's the another addition of users in our platform. When we were designing Sure Direct's platform, we were much more focusing on the students. Like, we want to provide students access to learning materials. But then we just came to realize that also teachers could use our platform to prepare themselves for teaching, but also they can use our platform to teach students within the platform. So with this year, we just realized another user that we did not really anticipate. And this user is parents. After the crisis, parents now, they wanted to be involved. They want to know, how are they helping their students learning? How can they being part of this learning process online? And then that is completely a new margin that we did not look forward to. So immediately we had to create a platform for parents, and parents are now using this platform. It's called Parents Corner, where they come there, they interact with their fellow parents, like peer connection. They explain the challenges they're facing in supporting their students, but also they're also being involved in terms of getting the report materials of their students, how they're performing in the platform, and how can they be of their assistance to help them learn and understand the concepts of different materials. But also when the COVID was announced in our country, it was around March, and that's in a academic calendar year of schools. This was the time that students were supposed to be doing midterm exams for closing the term. So immediately we had to take action. We had to help students to perform those exams using our platform. So we created midterm tests in our platform, and students were able to read there and mark the examination, get the results, while keeping up the same environment of learning, as Pierre said, as if you don't practice something more often, then you're likely to forget. So our platform really helped them to have a place that they can practice, they can learn, they can revise while all this mess of crisis was going on.
I actually believe that online, your story just reminded me when I was in college in the States, I had an open book exam where it was on the computer. I was like, oh, I'm going to cheat for sure. Like, but because they're aware that you have access to information, I felt like the questions were more critical thinking. So there was really no way to cheat, you know, and it required more of my critical thinking. So I'm also wondering, do you think it's going to shift the way we teach versus like memorization, which is a huge problem I have with a lot of education systems. It encourages memorization versus critical thinking.
Yes, I think the whole thing, the whole space has been challenged, has been tasted, and absolutely it's going to change from that level of understanding how the content is being delivered, the model, but also how are you testing the understanding of this student. How does this education really impact this student? How can they apply the skills that they have gotten from learning to practice? So I believe even the government now, I think it should consider this, changing the curriculum. You know, we initially we never had a curriculum for online platforms. So what we did, it was much more on adapting the same curriculum that is teaching, is being taught in a normal school environment. We just digitize it and put it as a digital curriculum. So I think now there is a need to push for having an online platform curriculum that can help these students really being impactful, and what they learn could be much more applicable in the day-to-day activities they're doing.
That's really great. And real quick before Dr. Martin thinks I'm ignoring him, but really, really quick, I'm still like ruminating on the idea that e-learning is going to eradicate who can be in a room. So a lot of things, and I don't know why, I'm thinking about prisons. That is a number one thing. They don't get education because of the idea, like, oh, you're in prison, we're not bringing teachers in here. So is that something, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but could you see this being extended to that place? Because I'm a believer that you can't put people in a prison and be like, come out a better person. I think education is a huge influence on what choices we make in life. Do you see that this could be applied either to that sector or something you'd be interested in?
Not to speak for sure direct, this is my personal opinion. I think for me, education is human right. Having access to education is human right. Like everyone is supposed to have education, and I strongly believe education to be a tool for poverty eradication, especially in our countries, in African countries. So I'm thinking on online platforms, learning online platform as a place that provide access, because it reaches so many people using a very little resources, but having a huge impact. So yes, for the prisoners, they really need this access. They need to be educated. And education is very broad. When you talk about education, discipline someone is also education. How to make someone understand what they have done is wrong and how they can become better. That is also education. Not necessarily that you have to have that simple formal education, but these people can also be educated, being empowered, and being told like what you have done is not right, you should have done this way, and when you come out, how you can become better person by using this platform. I think that some of the reasons that people are learning, people graduating, people get their certificate through online learning. So yeah, if we can adapt that, we'll be tapping into that way of implementing the human rights of getting education.
That's super exciting. You see why I was tying on